Hello again, everyone. Today I am going to share another, what I'm calling a paper snippet roll that I made. But before I show you that, I wanted to show you how I used the last one that I showed on the channel. So I'll put a link down below to that video where I talk about that snippet roll, but basically it is like a long strip of somewhat neutral papers with collage on top. Most of the products being from Tim Holtz, but you could of course do this with just about anything. But my plan was always to cut it up and use it in things. And so I have done that with my entire snippet roll. And I wanted to show you how I use that. And then here's sort of a sneak peek. Then I'm going to show you this new one that I made. So that is going to be next. But first I want to show you these. So these are booklets and a journal that I made in a class called Journal Into Your Art. And it's a really cool class. It basically teaches you how to make this journal and some little journals as extras from your extra paper. And on this one, I put little bits of the snippet roll on the front and back. And I thought they were perfect for front and back of something like this, because it's just, you know, they're colored, but they're, you know, empty pages inside of these. And then here's a longer one where I put a longer strip of that. And then again on the back. And then I did put some of the bits in here. So I'll just do a quick flip through of the things that I have in here. So some of this is spreads that are taught in the class, so I won't spend too much time on those, but I do want to find the bits where I have put bits of that snippet roll in. And it's really, like I said, it's really been useful because it's kind of like a little focal point, and it's really its own little composition when you take it out of the context of the long roll of paper. And it's been working pretty well. And let's see. I have, yeah, these are from Fodder School, which I'm going to show some things that I did in this particular class. This was my, I have to say, it's probably my all-time favorite month of Fodder School last year and this year. It just was really inspiring, and I'll show you some of that later. But that's January's Fodder School for 2023, I guess. And so here's another one. So they can be smaller or bigger, and you can kind of frame it however you want. Cut out a small piece or, you know, a bigger piece, like I was saying. And I think I might have one or two more in here, but let's kind of go through here quickly. And yeah, so we have some here. But I thought it would be helpful to see how I ended up using the papers in that. Let's see, is there another one? There might not be. Oh yeah, so here's another one here. This one's fairly simple, and I actually probably could put one more thing here to kind of make it more of a focal point, but that's okay. And gives me some room to do some more stuff with it. And this little journal is so fun. Okay, so here's another one, and then I have another one up here. It was actually a pretty long roll, so I did have a lot to work with, but like I said, once I started using it, I really liked the compositions that came out of the little cuttings that I did, so I just kept going with that. Okay, I think that is it for this one. All right, so that is how I used these little bits of the snippet roll that I showed you last time, which again, I'll put a link down below. And then this one, it's way too long to show you the whole thing in one go. Let me actually make some room so that I'm not knocking things over as I go through it. Oh, and this is upside down. So let's do it that way. The prior one, oops, and it looks like some of these sayings are coming up a little bit. The sticky is not as good on these little saying stickers than they could be. What was I going to say? Oh, so the one before I put on a spool, on an antique spool, like this one, but I didn't really measure before I started this, or even as I was adding things. I just kind of got so focused on making it that I didn't really measure anymore. So it doesn't really fit on this one. So I'm kind of struggling with how do I store this now? I mean, I could roll it up, but then things might pop off, and I don't know. I haven't decided that yet, but the idea was, again, to have this little resource to go through and use. Like for this one, I could just use that piece, or maybe I would go all the way out to, you know, here and use that whole spread, or maybe I would do that in its own little thing, or maybe go further. You know, it just depends on how big the space is that I want to fill and what I want to do with it. But again, I use mostly Tim Holtz products here, and I did a little bit of, you know, aging around the edges with Distress ink and that sort of thing. And the little word sayings are also from Tim Holtz. And this time I did use some die cuts and some stamps. So, and a lot of these were scraps from like maybe where I would stamp off a stamp or something like that. But this I find is, it's sort of, I want to say mindless, but it's very relaxing because I don't think too hard about it. I just kind of like go along the roll. And that's the thing. That's why it's nice to have this really long roll, is I can just go and say, okay, where's the empty spaces here? Where do I need a focal point here? And then it's, you know, I pick out a piece out of my stash and then I just put it on there wherever it seems to fit. And then at the end you have these little compositions, which also will, you know, work all together as one long roll. But I don't know where I would put it, where it would fit the long roll. I mean, I suppose you could put it all like towards the top of your wall near the ceiling or something like that to sort of have, you know, edging. That might be a fun idea, actually. But I'm going to go through. Oh, I keep doing that with this one. Oh, I should probably glue those down a little bit better. I've been having a little bit of a glue crisis because I'm running out of my main glue that I've been using lately, which thanks to Fodder School is reptile glue. And it's great for all purposes. I've just been using it all over the place. And you can't ship it in temperatures below 40 degrees. And it's been like 20 to 30 degrees here in Denver, and with no end in sight with 40 degrees and above. So, and I did actually find another bottle that I'd filled with it. So I was kind of happy about that because I really was running low. But I think that might be part of the reason why I haven't secured these, is because I was trying to be a little bit more sparing with my glue. All right, well, let's go ahead and get in here. And I did, so I originally attached just sort of scrap pieces of paper, kind of tore them up a little bit. And then at the seams, I did some machine sewing, and then I did sew on some extra little bits so that there would be some additional interest throughout. And I really love this little die. It was a freebie from Simon Says Stamp, but I actually bought it secondhand because I did not know about it at the time that it came out, but it's really, really cute. I've really been into birds lately, and all, as you can see, bird stamp, birds, butterflies, nature things. It's really been the direction I've kind of been going with a lot of the art I've been doing, which is, it's nice. You know, it's probably a topic or subjects that I find relaxing. And I debated whether to cut off these threads, but I kind of like them, and they're not too super long. I did cut them a little shorter this time. And I did actually, I'm just going to go through, actually, let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see these a little bit closer. Start here. So you can see each of the little compositions. And I did actually recently find something out about my sewing machine that explained why my tension was so bad all the time. It really is user error. I am terrible with sewing machines. I really am not a big fan of sewing machines at all, but I've been doing more and more work on a sewing machine with paper. So I've been having to wrestle with my sewing machine a little bit more. And I found out that I was holding the spool of thread to the machine wrong. Basically, there's a smaller piece to put into the type of spool that I'm using to secure it, and then the spool is not supposed to move. It's just supposed to stay static, and then the thread comes off. And my spool was moving. So it was definitely causing some looser tension with the top thread, which is kind of funny in a way, but you know, it is what it is. I used to read the manuals for everything that I got. And now my husband kind of teases me because I used to be like, you know, buy the book, follow all the directions. And now I barely even read directions or instructions for things that I get. I just kind of like deal with them and do stuff with them. And he's like, who are you? I'm like, look, I've become more laid back. All right. This is what you get. All right. Well, before I go, I did want to read through, because again, I did think about the word or the little phrase placements. So I kind of wanted it to read as a little story. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at this to see if it reads well backwards, because the last one I did, it read well backwards and forwards. But again, it doesn't really matter too much because these are going to be separated, but I don't know. It's sort of a quirk where I kind of wanted the story to flow through the whole thing. So here we have the Meadow Sweet. I dream of going back, the sweetest of memories, peace and happiness. And you could, I suppose, add this, which was a little rub-on, which says lost and found. I know that I am home. Beyond the purple skies, a strange and wonderful place, breathes the quiet beauty, the color of the sea, faintly visible. Wonderful secret destination. So that's what I wanted to do with that. But like I said, I haven't read it backwards, so I don't know if it works that way. But like I said, it's just really sort of a quirk of mine that I want to do it that way because these little pieces will be used separately. I think this is probably my favorite one here at the end. I really like the color of the butterfly and the little flower. A lot of these are rub-ons that I got from various places. Some are better than others with rub-ons. Like this one totally came apart while I was trying to rub it on. The plastic wouldn't come off the back. So that was a little bit troublesome, which is probably part of the reason why I covered it up here. And, but I really like them because some of them, not these, but some are transparent. Let's see if I can find one that is, okay. So like these, you can't really tell too much, but that little leaf is transparent. This leaf is transparent. Along with this one. So sometimes it's really nice to layer with things like that without having something to be covering up stuff like this one. This little, I don't know if you can see that, that little leafy thing there is transparent. So, all right, well, I think that's all I had for you today. I'm going to stop here on this one. Like I said, I'm going to put the prior video down below where I talked about my first snippet roll. I think that I'm probably going to incorporate this kind of thing into my art practice regularly. Anytime I run out of a roll, I'll probably do another one just because it gives me time to kind of art journal without having to come up with a whole composition. These are like ready-made compositions for me, which is kind of nice because then I can put them in a journal, either journal about them or save them for later to journal on. And I think it's really kind of nice to have that. It's sort of like a crutch, but not really. I mean, you're having fun, or I'm having fun doing things on either side of the making. All right. Oh, and here you can see the back side, which most of these are two-sided papers, so you do see some stuff on the back, but some of them aren't, like these here. And most of the time, if not all the time, probably not going to see the back, which in some cases is a shame because we have this little leaf and bird back here. But I tried to keep the papers on the main side pretty neutral so that they wouldn't interfere too much with the composition. I think the first one I did a little bit more color, but this one is much more neutral for the background. All right, so like I said, that's all I have for you today. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you have any questions about this, feel free to ask below and I will answer when I can. I hope to see you next time, but in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.